Good day, gentlemen. You've likely already realized that the manosphere's way of leading a woman will never actually lead you to building the relationship that you want with the woman that you want. Now, I've been with my girl for over 6 years and we built a fantastic relationship, but I had my Andrew Tate phase. I'll be very honest about that. But at the end of the day, I thankfully quickly realized that her, as the sweet and loving and just outstanding woman that she is, she actually got pushed away by that. And not just that, I felt a massive disconnect to myself. I felt like a dick because I actually kind of was one. And so I want to share 4 crucial lessons with you that teach you how to actually lead a woman and how to actually have her primal trust in you so that you can actually build the relationship that you want, avoiding all this immature nonsense that's on the internet. And make sure that you pay attention to this, because if I had missed any one of these 4 lessons, I would not be where I am. Pay attention. Take this serious. Now, lesson number 1 is she wants to relax in the demonstration of your direction. This is a quote by David Deida, and we have to start this video like this because it is one of the best, if not the best quotes on masculine leadership, maturely masculine leadership in a relationship that I've ever heard. What this means is simply this. When my girl is with me, she just wants to metaphorically or actually hold my hand, grab my arm, and know that she'll be fine going with me. She just knows that whatever I do, she'll be okay. And she doesn't have to be in her mind constantly. She doesn't have to constantly overthink, constantly worry about things. She can just relax into my demonstration or into the demonstration of my direction and just be fine. There's dogs coming. Hello. But then, of course, if I act immaturely like all these red pill man children, or if I am so caught up in my own emotions and I don't control my emotions, then of course she can't trust that. And she has to think, she has to lead that direction herself. She has to be in her mind constantly instead of being in her heart. And of course, that's not how she wants to be. And at the end of the day, you have experienced both of these sides. You have experienced those beautiful moments where she was just so free and so in her heart, so loving, so almost childish and fully trusting in you. And you felt so good about yourself. But you have also experienced the other side where you didn't really know what to do. You didn't demonstrate your direction. And she became nagging. She became irritable. Now, I've said this in the past, but I'll say it again. You have to demonstrate direction, and we'll talk about how to demonstrate direction without ruling over her, without being a tyrant in a second. But at the end of the day, man, you have to demonstrate direction. But if the only times you demonstrate direction is while leading her through the aisles of a supermarket or through traffic, then how the fuck would she actually develop trust in you? Yes, that is a starting point, 100%, because most men are even too afraid to do that nowadays. But you have to go deeper. When it comes to picking the restaurant for the date night, when it comes to picking the holiday destination, when it comes to picking the city or the country that you want to spend your life in, the more weight those decisions hold, the more she wants to know that she can trust you with these decisions and that she can, metaphorically again, hold your hand and know that she'll be fine while you lead her through life. And of course, like I said, it's important to not be a tyrant. It is also important to not be a weakling who just lets her rule over you. She can't relax. She's constantly in her mind, right? But if you're a tyrant who rules over her immaturely, who puts his own opinions, his own decisions onto her without asking for her input, first of all, you'll make worse decisions because you don't make good decisions with more time, but with more information. So for fuck's sake, ask her for information if you need some to make a good decision. But then secondly, you will lose all her trust because she then has to protect herself. She has to, protect herself. She has to protect and predict, which is what the mind says, what the mind does. The heart trusts and has patience. This is something that one of my mentors, Ryan, recently told me, and it was so eye-opening for me. Now, how you go about doing that is very simple. You give direction by showing what you want to do. Hey, I think we should go to this restaurant, but then you ask for her input. What do you think? Simple. And with that, you give direction. And of course, you can do this in 100 or 1,000 different ways. But at the end of the day, this is the simple principle. You give direction, you show direction, and then you ask for her input. And then you just see which decision is actually the best decision to make. And then you make that decision. Simple. It's really not that difficult. Now, for lesson number 2, we have to talk about how to actually develop trust in your ability to lead. Because I can tell you how to lead. But if you don't trust yourself to actually take the lead, then that doesn't help you at all. And at the end of the day, so many men nowadays, including my younger self, we're just afraid to speak up. We're afraid to just show our honest viewpoint, and not even in a bad way, but just to show our viewpoint. We've been raised as people pleasers, And at the end of the day, brother, you need to learn that you can trust your own judgment. I had to learn that I could trust my own judgment, because me not trusting my own judgment was the reason why I never spoke up. I just thought I didn't have enough information or enough whatever intelligence, confidence to make a good decision. But that wasn't true. I just didn't trust my own judgment. So how did I actually learn to trust my judgment? How did I develop that trust in myself? Simple. It's really simple. But listen up, because this is profound. I just made decisions and realized that whether I made the wrong decision or whether I made the right decision, I was still alive. I was okay. Nothing actually happened. And through that, I realized, hey, if I make a decision, I can get feedback. I can learn from it. It is 100 times worse to make no decision than to make the wrong decision. Because if you make no decision, you just stay stuck. But if you make the wrong decision, okay, maybe there's some, whatever, fight in the relationship. Maybe there's some, whatever, you get fired from your job, whatever it might be. Like, these are like heavy things at the end of the day. But hey, you're still alive. Nothing actually happened. Realize that, understand that. So just make decisions, because you literally show yourself that you don't trust your judgment if you don't make a decision, even though you know which decision to make. We always kind of have this feeling of like, I know that I should make this decision, but I don't do it. And that's why you don't trust your judgment. And that's why your woman can't trust your lead or your judgment. The moment I started to just make decisions was the moment where I realized, fuck, if I just make decisions, I actually become more confident. Because what do you communicate to your subconscious mind if you just make decisions, or if you don't make decisions? Well, if you make decisions, you communicate to your subconscious mind, this motherfucker is confident. Otherwise, he wouldn't make that decision. If you don't make the decision, even though you know which decision to make, then you communicate to your subconscious mind, yeah, this guy, he's insecure. He doesn't know which decision to make. He doesn't have any direction. Simple. And you communicate the same thing to your woman, by the way. And so with that, practicing, like basically building trust in your own judgment, what you do is simply the same as in the gym, how you progressively overload the weight there. You progressively overload the weight of decisions that you make, but you make those decisions yourself. You make your own decisions. You take control over your life at the end of the day. And because I want to over-deliver, I want to also tell you why it is so important that when you're like finding information, like gaining information from your woman, right? You ask her for her side and all that. Why you then still need to make your own decision at the end of the day, right? At the end, you still need to make your own decision. Because otherwise, what happens is that you, first of all, lose that trust in yourself, of course, if you go with her decision, even though you think your decision would be better. And second of all, resentment will build. You will build resentment for yourself because you're like, fuck, I didn't trust myself. And you will build resentment towards her because you're like, so what happens if she makes the right decision and you would have made the wrong decision? Well, then she robbed you of an opportunity to actually gain more data on which decision to make. She robbed you of an opportunity to make a mistake and learn from it. And not just like, she didn't do that. You did that. You robbed yourself of that opportunity. So you will resent yourself as well. But what if she's wrong and you know you were right? Well, then simple. You will think, oh, fuck. Why didn't I trust myself enough? And again, that thought will play over and over in your head of, oh man, I just don't trust myself enough. I just don't trust my own judgment. And your woman will see the exact same thing. So make sure that at the end of the day, like the final decision is always the decision that you want to make, even if it upsets her. That's okay. But at the end of the day, what's more important to you? Is it the relationship with her or the relationship with yourself? And not just that, maybe it upsets her. But do you want to build resentment in the relationship by, like, her seeing that you live your truth, her seeing that you go with your own judgment? Sure, she might be upset, but she doesn't resent you for it. But if you go with her decision, she will resent you for that because she can't trust you anymore and you can't trust yourself anymore. You know, sometimes I have these situations with my girl where she wants to do A, but I want to do B. And you know what we do? She does A and I do B. Simple as that. It really is that simple sometimes. And it doesn't build any resentment. We just both live our own authentic truth, and that's completely okay. Now, you might be wondering, okay, all good, but what if she actually has more information, more credentials on making the right decision than I do? We'll talk about that in point number 3, because this is something that happens quite often, and it's very important that you handle this in the mature way, not in the immature way of trying to rule over her or folding completely at the end of the day. But before we get into that, real quick, if you are a decently successful man in his 20s and you found the woman that you want to spend your life with, but your relationship isn't going as great as you would want it to, then you can always apply for my mentorship. There's a link in the description. Check that out after the video. So, lesson number 3. What do I do in those moments where she has more credentials, more authority to actually lead, to actually make a good decision? I don't fold like a weakling and just lets her rule over me, but I also am not a tyrant who rules over her and puts his perspective onto her, because that wouldn't make any sense. Both of those scenarios, you lose both trust in yourself, I would lose trust in myself, and she would lose trust in me, and she would also lose trust in herself. She would be like, oh, if he doesn't trust me to make a decision, then I'm probably not good enough to make a decision, and that doesn't help. Then she can't relax into her feminine. Then she has to worry, she has to think, she has to predict and protect. That's the mind again, not the heart. And so what do I... No, before I get into that, quick side tangent. Why do you think that in every ancient myth, the oracle is always a very feminine woman? Because feminine wisdom, feminine intuition is powerful and you can use it. But how do I then practically do this? How do I basically still lead her into taking the lead? Because that's what I do. I lead her into taking the lead. I'll give you an example that recently happened. A couple months ago, my girl and I ran our first half marathon. In the training process, my knees were fucked, so I went on 2 training runs. She trained for 8 or 9 weeks, consistently. So she was way better equipped to actually keep us on pace. She knew about nutrition, she knew about hydration, all that, and we had a quite ambitious goal, in basically running 21 kilometers, half marathon in under 2 hours. That was not the easiest thing to do, honestly. And I knew, or we both knew, that it would get hard. Like, we both were like, can we actually do this? I don't know. And what happened was, I simply gave her the lead. I led her into taking the lead. I told her, what do you need me to do so we run this in under 2 hours? How do I need to hydrate? What do I need to prepare? How do I need to eat? Whatever it might be. And I told her to keep us on pace because she was simply more equipped to do this. So I gave the lead to her. I led her into taking the lead, because what happens then is she doesn't have to think about, do I have to take the lead, or does he take the lead, or this or that? Everything's clear. She can just relax. She can trust that I trust in her lead, so she can trust in her own lead. And she can have that trust and that patience, like I said, right? From the heart. And what happened was, half marathon, that's 21 kilometers, a little over actually. For the first 19, everything was perfect. She ran, she kept us on pace. I was battling the pain in my knees. I'll be very honest, it was not a pleasant thing. I was, after like 3 kilometers, I was done basically, but I just kept running. And sometimes the gap got quite big, I'll be honest, but I always caught up to her again. But then at 19 kilometers, 2 kilometers before the finish line, we were on time, but it was tricky, like we were right on time. She hit a wall. She completely hit a wall. And her face literally turned pale and green and purple, like she was about to throw up. And she was about to throw up. And what I did then is very simple. I flipped the switch. It's like, cool, I'll take the lead again. Fully taking the lead again. Shouting at her to keep going. I fully carried us over that finish line. And you know what we did? We did that fucking half marathon in 1 hour, 59 minutes and 44 seconds. 16 seconds under our goal time. Fucking insane, bro. And the thing is this, that whole experience connected us so much more deeply because I simply trusted her lead. I showed her that I trusted her lead. And then once it came to taking the lead again myself, I took the lead and I stepped into that role. Even though my knees were fucked, even though I barely could breathe anymore, I was like, cool, for the last 10 minutes, I'll carry this. I shouted at her. Bro, I was struggling with my breathing already. Then I fucking shouted at her. But it worked and we did it. And we hit our goal time and we felt so connected and so trusting in each other after that experience. I hope that shows you that you can give her the lead when it's actually the best thing to do, because that shows that you trust yourself. If you can't show her that you trust her lead, then how the fuck would she trust in your lead? Simple as that. So lead her into taking the lead. That's it. Now, lesson number 4 is by far the most important lesson that I'll share with you in this video, because I always keep the most important lessons to the end of these videos, so only the most ambitious guys like you get these lessons. And so lesson number 4 is, she will challenge your leadership. Use those challenges for growth. This might be a small thing, like you always drive the car, but then one day she's like, no, I want to drive today, right? And it's like, it upsets you a bit. It's like, oh, do you not trust my lead? Do you not trust me to drive? And it might be 100 different situations, but let's just go with this example. How do you react? How do I react? I don't react. I respond. That's a difference. I respond, and I respond specifically with love and with humor. And I had to overcome a lot of insecurities to actually get to that point. But when I didn't react anymore, because I thought, oh, she's challenging my leadership, she doesn't trust me. But when I responded with love and humor, the trust that she then developed in my leadership became way, way, way stronger. And so, how did I actually develop this capacity? Let me tell you this quick story to really drive this point home for you. I was on this Zoom call with one of my mentors, Ryan, who I mentioned earlier, and one other guy. And it was like a group call, but one other like guest speaker, basically. And this guest speaker, I won't mention his name, but he went through a lot of shit in his life. He went through a lot of shit, health mostly, and now he's working with billionaires as his clients. This guy has a great relationship with his woman, is about to become a father as well. And he said something very profound in that Zoom call. He said most men nowadays, they're afraid of looking like a pussy. What did he say specifically? Most men are slaves to not being a pussy. Most men are slaves to not being a pussy. Most men nowadays are simply enslaved by their own insecurity of avoiding looking like a pussy at all costs. They have to avoid this. But once you overcome this insecurity, once I overcame this insecurity, you become a man who's so confident in his own masculinity, in his own groundedness, that you can, in this situation, when she's, oh, I want to drive today, you can just sit down in the passenger seat, cross your legs, and put her hand onto your thigh, like she always does, right? And just fully enjoy that passenger princess life. And of course, this is not, like, you're not acting like a fucking pushover or anything like that. You're so humorous, you're so grounded, you're so relaxed in those situations that you can take this with humor, with love. And what you'll find is not just will she trust you more, but you will have these very connecting moments where my girl sometimes admits in her own words that, oh, I just wanted to see if I can like challenge you a bit. I just wanted to see if I can like crack your shell a bit. But actually, when you react with humor, with love, you crack her shell, and she can again trust and have patience. She can again surrender into your masculinity, and she can again be in that in that passenger seat and just relax into your leadership. All of this will happen because your woman can then see that you are not controlled by your own insecurities anymore, that you have overcome these insecurities. And through that, what will happen is she doesn't even want to drive anymore. But if you continue reacting in this immature way, like I did in the past as well, where either I almost tried to force her to let me drive, or I sat down in the passenger seat like a defeated man-child, if you continue doing this, of course she will continue challenging your insecurity. Because here's the thing, the red pill calls these tests, these challenges, like I call them, shit tests. That's not what they are. They're not tests that you can, whatever, that's bullshit. What they are is they're challenges. She's challenging you to become a better man. She's challenging you. She can see who you can truly be. She can see that you are man enough to actually get to where you want to go and become the man that you want to be and become the man that she wants you to be. So she's challenging your insecurities to show you, hey, this is something you need to work on, and I see this. And once you overcome these challenges, once you overcome these insecurities that you have, then again, she can relax and you can be the man that you want to be. You know, a great leader stays relaxed, he stays grounded, he stays humorous in those challenging moments, and he overcomes those challenges with ease. This is what it takes, gentlemen. This is what it takes. And once you develop this ability, not only will she trust your leadership way more and your relationship will become more polarized and more beautiful and more fulfilling, but also you will get rid of that cognitive dissonance that you might feel when you don't really know how to lead, and you will be way more at peace with yourself. So brother, make sure that number one, she can let herself fall into your direction when she's with you. Two, that you simply make decisions to develop trust in your own judgment. That three, when she is more equipped to make a decision, you lead her into taking the lead. And that four, when she challenges your leadership, you use those challenges as opportunities for your own growth. And this way you will become a maturely masculine leader who has his woman's boundless trust And if you're a man in his 20s who has found the woman he wants to spend his life with, but your relationship just isn't going as well as you would want it to, and you don't really know what to do about that, then I want to offer you my help. You can apply for my mentorship, but keep in mind this is only for men who have already leveled themselves up quite a bit in terms of wealth and health, and now they want to take their relationship to the next level to fulfill this trifecta of health, wealth, relationship. So if this is you, you can apply for my mentorship. There's a link in the description. You can fill out the application. It takes 3 minutes, and then I can help you to actually build the relationship that you want to have and become the man that you want to be. If you're interested, click the link in the description right now, fill out the application, and then maybe we'll talk very soon. Have a great day. Bye.